Hey guys, and welcome! Today is yet another requested video, or it's actually more of a question that I get a lot, which I'm now converting into a video. It's a question that I get very often, and sometimes I'm wondering if I'm getting it too often. The question is, I lost my snake. Where do I find it? How do I find it? Please help. My usual answer to that question is to basically just look everywhere, like look everywhere possible. But today I'm going to take you through a few steps that I do when I lose my snake, because yes, believe it or not, I've actually lost some of my snakes, especially my corn snake Queenie. She seems to be like the mastermind behind this whole escape thing. She's a true escape artist. I don't know how she does it, but she really does seem to manage to find every single possible way that she can to get out of her terrarium, no matter what I do. Luckily, the terrarium I have her in now seems to be pretty good, seems to be pretty escape proof, if you can say it like that, and she hasn't yet been able to escape from that one, so fingers crossed that she's going to stay in that one. So if you've ever had a snake escape on you, or if you're just trying to prevent your snake from doing exactly that, then this video is definitely for you. My first advice to you is to locate how your snake got out. Like, you're coming home and you're going to check on your snake, and there's just no snake in the terrarium and everything seems to be in order. So your first job is to try and locate how did it get out. Did you forget to lock? Was there a hole somewhere in the terrarium? Like, how did this whole thing happen? I remember one time coming home and I was checking on Noelle, who is just right over there, in an Exoterra terrarium. And these terrariums are pretty good, because it is possible for you to actually lock when you put the snake in. So I was looking there and the doors were locked, and I was, how is this even possible? Also because that Noelle is not a tiny snake, like he's not a tiny corn snake hatchling. He actually does have some size to him. So I should be able to see where he got out, but there was like no obvious escape route for me to see. So I was really like, and I was checking everything like twice, and I was like, there is absolutely no snake in here. So how did he get out? And it actually showed that Noelle had managed to push like the top lid. He had pushed that open, and then he had crawled out because I had been opening it earlier on to, I believe, clean or something like that. And then I simply forgot to just push it all the way back down. So he had managed to see that, or managed to discover that. Try to figure out at first, how did your snake get out, because that will help you when you put the snake back in again to not make the same mistake. Because if you go back and you're like, oh, the snake is lost, and you haven't found the source, and you just put the snake back in, then it's definitely going to escape right away again. Now that you've located how this snake escaped, it's time to find your snake. I'm pretty lucky because up here in the reptile room, it's completely closed off. So if any of the snakes should get out, they cannot get out of this room. So that's pretty good, and I can highly recommend that you have your animals in a room where it is possible for you to close the door so the snake cannot get further away should it happen. Now, I'm not very good at finding snakes. It often takes me an hour, 2 hours, maybe even more to locate where the snake is. Timmy, he's very good, and the way that he does it, I've heard, is that he looks at the terrarium and then he starts to calculate, and you can just see how his mind is working, and then he kind of like figures out, okay, so the snake got out there, then it would have gone to here, then there, then round there, and then it's probably just like there, and then he just puts his hands in and yanks out a snake. And I've been spending 2 hours looking for this snake. I don't know how he does it, but that's a tip I'm going to give to you. Try to figure out where could the snake have gone from here. If you have your terrarium on a shelf, then try to locate where could the snake have gone. So to shorten it down, try to think like a snake. Like, where would you be able to go from here? And then start by that. The second thing you have to remember is that snake, they do prefer like very small, very dark, very tight places to go. So that should be a priority for you to look there. Just have a look at pretty much everywhere that's tight, that's small. I once found Morrigan hiding inside a flower pot with the flower still in there. And for me, when I was looking on the outside, it was like no possible way for that snake to hide there. But that's what she did. When I looked down, she was just like in a perfect circle, just laying at the bottom of this flower pot. So pretty much look anywhere that's small, that's dark, and that could be like a safe spot for the snake to go. The third thing that you can do if you've looked all of these places and you still haven't found your snake is basically to look everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. Look underneath everything, look inside everything, pull things out to have a look if they're going to be behind. Because trust me, they can go into like the weirdest places you've never imagined them being able to squeeze into. I once heard of a guy who actually found his snake inside his guitar. So that's just, you know, you really have to think outside the box. The snake can be everywhere, so you should look everywhere. Now let's put up a scenario that you found your snake, but it's actually under something where you can't quite reach, maybe under the fridge or under somewhere where your hand just can't, you just can't get a hold of it. Then I can definitely recommend for you to get one of these. You might know them. This is called like a snake hook, and you basically you always see guys who are handling like venomous snakes. They're using these to avoid using their hands. I can recommend these because they can go underneath and then they can just grab the snake and yank it right out, and you're not gonna do any damage. Like, this may seem tough, but it's quite soft. So if you're just being careful, then this thing will definitely help you get the snake out of this tight spot where your hand can't quite reach. So that's just a tip from me. Get this kind of snake hook because it will help you, and you are gonna need it in a situation like that. When you finally found your snake, and hopefully you will, it's always a good idea to check for wounds, see if any damage has happened or anything like that, because you might not know exactly for how long the snake has been away. Since you don't know that, there is also a good possibility that it has cooled off quite a lot. If it didn't hide somewhere where there is a lot of warmth and stuff, it might be very, very cold. So check for wounds, but then immediately make sure to get it right back into some heat and into some comfort. This is also why it's a really good idea that you already at this point know where the snake got out, like where there is a hole, because when you get the snake right back to the terrarium where it's feeling safe, where it's feeling warm, and if you don't know where it has escaped from at this point, then you might be unlucky and it will escape right away. Also, I have to say that when your snake have been out adventuring all on its own, and then you suddenly come and you grab it and you pull it out, it might have been very difficult for you to get the snake out, and you can cause some discomfort and some stress to the snake. You have to be prepared that the snake might be in a defensive mode. It might even strike at you because it's getting scared, and all of these things happen that it's not used to. So when you are locating your snake, be careful when you drag it out or when you pull it out, and then just right away after you check for wounds, if nothing is wrong, right back to the terrarium, right back to where it feels safe, and then just leave it alone, of course. Make sure that it has time to de-stress. You know how we like our snakes? We like them when they are de-stressed and calm. Now that your snake is back and it seems healthy, it's just chilling, and you've checked where the exit was in the terrarium, a thing that I always like to do, and I think that I'm still doing, is that I put a little post-it. I either put it on the terrarium or on the door when I'm leaving this reptile room. It might say something like, did you remember to close, or have you checked for this and that, but just a reminder for you to check again to just make sure that the snake cannot escape. If your snake has escaped, don't feel bad. It happens, and it happens to me too. I think it pretty much has happened to everyone who has snakes, or it probably will. Don't feel bad about it, just try your best to fix the situation. Accidents do happen, but as long as we fix them, it's okay. Guys, let me know if you have any tips or tricks to someone who has lost their snake on how to find them. Please post them right down in the comment section. I very much enjoy when you guys are giving me and everyone else advice. I just love it, so please keep doing that. Please give the video a like if you did enjoy it, of course, and if you want to see more, remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for now, and bye bye!